We're starting Numbers today. Numbers 1:1
Yes.
through 4:20.
Yes.
And I'm gonna jump off, and we're gonna do the part of the Haftarah today too. So,
Okay.
and but let me open up with a word of prayer. Father, I give you praise and glory, and again I thank you for this Shabbat. I thank you for this time of rest, and I continue to pray that you would give us eyes to see and ears to hear, and that your word would become alive to us. May you be glorified in all things in Yeshua's name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, so Numbers 1:1. Numbers 1:1.
Yeah, got it.
Okay. In Spanish, uno, uno.
That I can translate.
Okay, what is Numbers? I can't remember.
Numero.
Numero, yeah. Numero uno, uno.
Well, so you're saying you know what?
I know a little Spanish, yes. I know Spanish.
Uno, it sounds like you know, so what is
Oh.
it you're supposed to know?
Oh, well, whatever. Translate it. So,
All right.
okay, so I'm going to read the first verse. And Yahuwah spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tent of meeting, on the first of the second month, in the second year after their exodus from the land of Egypt. All right, we get a lot of information there. And in fact, John Shaver, I think, used this part of his message last Shabbat. But so we get a location. They're in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tent of meeting. Now, which tent of meeting?
Moses.
Okay, Moses' tent. Now, this might be new to you, Rusty. I don't know if we've talked about it, while you've been with us, but there were two tents of meeting.
Really?
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Yes, I didn't think you did. So there was the one that is the tent of the tent of meeting, that is the Mishkan, and then there's a tent of meeting, which is the one that Moses had outside the camp. So there's two.
So they had two all at the same time?
Yes, there were two at the same time.
Oh,
And-
that's why I was wondering why okay, see, I wondered, when you said that you went outside the camp to that, I was going, why would you put that outside the camp?
And,
You know?
well, that's what he was instructed by Yahuwah to do in
Well,
Exodus.
I know, but it didn't make any sense, so.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
And this is what happens with a lot of people in the interpretation and as their translation, because it's the same word used for both, except in certain translations, especially within the Hebrew. And if you know the Hebrew, then you know if it's the Mishkan, which is the one inside, or it's the Ohel, which is the one that's on the outside. And a lot of people don't realize, I didn't realize this either until, 20 years ago, but still, there's a reason for it, because they each held an ark. They each held a box,
They each held an ark.
an ark.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, because there's two tents of meeting and two arks. So at some point, I can give you the teaching on that. Okay, so
Yeah.
they're at the one on the outside, because that's where Moses would meet.
So,
Yeshua was on the outside, and because he even personally was not allowed to go into the most holy place. He could go into the holy place, but not the most holy place. But
Okay.
most of the conversation that was done with Moses, between Moses and Yahuwah, through his word, was on the outside, outside the camp. Okay, so let's get a time frame. Second month, first of the second month of the second year. Now, in time frame keeping, or in timekeeping, they're within Exodus. It's all about them leaving Egypt. And so through the rest of the Torah, the time framing deals with them exiting Egypt. And the reason I bring that up is because then as you go on throughout the scripture, there's certain timekeeping that is used, like in Kings and Chronicles. They'll use the year of that the king is ruling, and even beyond that, even when you get into the prophets, Ezekiel and Jeremiah, some of them will list the rulers on the outside when the children of Israel were taken off into captivity. So, and even within our day today, our timekeeping basically started when Yeshua was here. So we are in the time frame of the gathering in of the, quote, Gentiles, or the house of Israel out of the Gentiles.
Okay.
That's a better way of putting it. Gathering in the house.
Say that one more time, please.
The gathering in of the house of Israel out of the nations, or out of what's translated as Gentiles.
Okay, got it. Right. Okay.
Okay. And so this Numbers chapter 1, they're taking a census.
Right.
They're going to be taking, counting the people, counting the men. Now, this is a pattern. We don't realize it, that verse 1 is a pattern, just giving, and it's used, it's a simple pattern that's used throughout, the scriptures. Now, what time period would this have been for the children of Israel in the counting? And I'm going to narrow it down for you in the counting of the feast days.
Well, it says the counting of the Omer, right?
Okay, very good. It's the counting of the Omer. Similar wording, counting. This is what I want you to focus on, is the word counting. And so now what they're doing is they're counting the children of Israel as, in particular, the 20 years and older, as the harvest from Egypt. Okay, that's what I want you to see it as, the harvest from Egypt.
Okay.
And why 20 years and older? What do you think?
Well, 20 and if I remember right, when you're children, that's when you become an adult. It's when you turn 20.
According to who?
According to right. Well, as far as I know, according to God, that's when
Okay.
that's when the men become an adult.
Exactly.
And they can also, and I think that's when they can actually, those that can those are the ones that can go to war, and those are also the ones that can go and help, if, how do I want to say this?
Well, within the Levites, yeah.
Right, exactly, there
Yeah.
you go, right, yeah.
So we have to understand that. See, within the United States and most of the world, you're an adult when you're 18.
All right.
So this, to some people, and I've ran into some people, that this is confusing. This is why 20? Well, this is the age for the children of Israel that the Father established for them. So verse 3, it talks about 20 years of age and up. Now this is just for the tribes minus the Levites. The Levites are counted in a different manner. And so as they're taking this census, as it goes through, one of the things in verse 4, let me read verse 4, and what Yahuwah tells Moses is, and you and with you shall be one man from each tribe, a man who is a leader of his father's household. So what kind of information can we glean from that? What?
The first one.
Okay, yeah, could be,
Well, what I meant, you know, how can I put it? They're the first of their family.
it doesn't tell us that, but.
The head.
Yeah.
The head of the family.
Head of the family, it doesn't tell us that they're the firstborn.
No,
However.
I know, but I know. I didn't meant the firstborn, and I meant like the head of the family.
Right. So,
Yeah, I would think it would be the oldest one, wouldn't it? Because it says, and with you there shall be a man of every tribe, every one head of the house of his fathers. That means, you know, that he would be the oldest one, I would think.
well, you would think. Yes, that's correct. You would think. However, if you go to Reuben, he was knocked off the pedestal by Jacob.
Oh, no, that's true. Anytime it comes to that, then that's
Yeah,
an exception.
yeah. So,
There's always an exception.
but,
That happened a lot.
huh? What happened to Reuben?
It happened a lot when the oldest was relegated to the second place. Was it,
We did-
Esau? And,
Yeah, Esau and Jacob, yeah.
yep, yeah, and there's another one that.
Ephraim and Manasseh.
Yeah, yep. So, yeah.
So I mean, we have enough, somewhat of patterns that, you know, it's very possible, but they were the ones, the people that were chosen, and they were chosen by Yahuwah. I want to make that clear. They were chosen by Yahuwah. They weren't chosen by Moses. This is what we need to glean from here. Because in verse 5 it says, these are the names of the men who shall stand with you. That's Yahuwah speaking.
True, you're right.
So he's the one that does the choosing. He's the one that does the raising up.
Wow.
Right, so they didn't necessarily mean the oldest said so.
Correct.
Thinking English rather than Hebrew.
Right. Well, but
wonder
again,
if
it's understanding and learning how to translate and understand the patterns that get established that now are going to be used throughout the generations. Did I make myself clear there?
Yeah.
All right. And so,
You're saying it's like the same thing as traditions and our different families and how usually there's a pattern. That's the kind.
right.
But this is different because this is with Jehovah.
Well, let me, and I'm going to give you a good example just from my own personal experience. I'm the third born, but yet I was the one that was, what do I want to say?
Interesting.
Most enterprisal, you know, I was most, you know, I was self-starter. I was the one that, you know, was looked at to be the millionaire by the time I was 25.
What
Did
happened?
it work out?
Now, what do you think? I'm the only one out of my siblings that is not worth over $100,000. Not even think I'm worth $100,000 now.
Yeah, but spiritually it was a lot more.
Okay, and that, you know, it,
That's even financial, that's not your character though.
correct, and
No, it's
that's
not.
very good. I'm glad you brought that up because
It's not.
I'm still looked at as being a leader in the family.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of times they can't figure me out, but that's okay.
They don't know where you're going when you're leaving?
Well, that's true. They're a little bit like, you know, well, where's David today? Like somebody else I know. So, but it's so I know personally that I'm chosen to do what I'm doing. Not
Right.
saying it's something that I would have chose for myself, but it's just something that, the Father. So, just to make the point again, the men that were chosen, that were named personally, like for Reuben, Elazar, and for Judah, Nachshon. So it's, he chose them to be the leaders.
Right.
He chose them to do to hold the position. Now, we'll see as we go further into Numbers and into even Deuteronomy, that there are at times and occasions where there are additional leaders that are raised up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Well, from the count of these men, 20 and above, there must have been a multitude of men who would stand out as a leader, so
Yeah.
to speak. And so that's when Yahuwah said, okay, this is the one that I want out of all these men that were prominent in the families.
Right. Because they had upwards of, and this is where the Sanhedrin comes in, they had upwards of 70 men that when you go back into Exodus, you can work that out. And like I said, this is where our Jewish brethren, where the rabbis get the Sanhedrin numbers. And that actually is still in place today.
As far as I knew, yeah.
Yeah, it still is. There is the numbers of 70, and it can go. They have alternates that are added to it. And I came across this years ago with a rabbi that was on not the second list of elders, but the third list. And so if something happened to the one on the second list and he was in that lineage, then he stepped into there. And then if you can understand the process and the progression. But they were worldwide. It was a worldwide organization that was set up by the rabbis out of Jerusalem.
Well, isn't there, where does it talk about in the word about to 70 nations?
Yeah, that's in that's in Genesis.
Okay, but
And
that comes from the tribes, right?
Yeah, and that's another place where they get,
Right.
they'll be in
Okay.
Numbers, and we also see it in Exodus as well as in Genesis.
Well, that's where I thought of it was from Exodus,
Yeah.
but I know that you still hear about it sometimes today, just even in the news in the process, and I think, wow, I wonder where they got that from.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay, now, and the position of these men is to help in the counting. Because that's why they're from each family, so that they would know the extension of the family. They would have a good idea. And so that everybody gets counted. Nobody gets missed. Because you're counting from 20 years and older. So if you got somebody that comes up that's 19 years, 364 days, now the leader's going to say, nope, you don't qualify. You're not counted among them.
Right.
Not till tomorrow.
Not till the next day.
So I think that's what somebody just said, would they be counted once they hit 20?
Yes, if they were still counting.
Okay.
But they would be counted until the next census, so they wouldn't be counted in this census.
Right, correct. Yeah,
Right, so they'd have to wait for the next census, and then they would be counted in the 20 and up, whenever
Right.
the census
Yeah.
would be.
but it's not very often that they were
Yeah.
called to count.
No.
No, and then they counted when they weren't supposed to, so.
Yeah, and we can see that in Samuel with David.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well, I know where I go to Sabbath, we consider the kids to be their children until they're 20.
yeah,
That's what we do over there too. So.
okay.
Yeah.
You got a few more years.
All right.
What?
I have a few more years. My kids will be 20 in
Yep.
what, 2.5 years.
But you can kick them out at 18.
Yay! No.
And the government won't come down on you for it. as far as I know.
They might.
Yeah, no.
The age of bar mitzvah, that's just a tradition, right?
That is a tradition, yes. Bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah, those are traditions.
Yeah, and that was around 13. Huh?
Yeah, 12 and 13.
You know what what I have to keep remembering when we're reading this is how big these camps were with all of these people. You know, when you go to a family reunion right now and say there's 200 people there, you know, I mean, and that's
Oh
a
my
lot.
goodness.
And you know how chaotic and this and that, and that pales in comparison to how many people they had here.
Well,
I mean,
I'm gonna be a part of 2 family reunions this year, but they're not gonna be the total family reunions, or gatherings, let me put it that way. And, I think at the most we ever had was 40. And that was chaotic, especially with all the kids.
yep.
Oh,
that was-
Especially if no
Now-
one's watching them.
Yeah, it was like, okay, now I know why Grandma and Grandpa didn't want to stay in our house when they came. They always got a room.
Go where it was quiet.
Yeah, I can understand that. So,
Yep.
Where does it say, does it say anything in the word where the bar mitzvah is a tradition?
no. Well, not a tradition, no. It's not mentioned at all, period.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's pretty much how we know it's a tradition, because it's not mentioned in scriptures at all.
Right.
okay.
But then when you look it up also, it'll reveal it's a
Okay.
tradition. It's like, for the Spanish, the quinceañera, 16-year-old for the girls.
15.
Yeah.
15.
15?
Quince
Okay.
is 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I guess I don't know that much Spanish.
Do you think they would base that on Yeshua going to,
12, yeah, because he
Yeah.
was 12 when they went to,
when he went to the temple and spoke
Yeah.
with the...
I just know someone that turned 12 last year, maybe about 8 months ago, and their parents decided that, that they should do their bar mitzvah, and that makes them a man. And I'm saying, this kid's too young to be a man. There's no way you need to, you can't put that on him.
and this is one of the reasons why we need to understand, what it is from the scriptures, what it is from Yahuwah's perspective on
Right.
what's age related.
But
Okay.
even a bar mitzvah, for 13-year-olds, they don't have them leave and go get jobs and stuff. Isn't it more for a spiritual thing, a study? They're old enough now to learn and be accountable to.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
being
That's
accountable
what
to the commandments, yes.
Yeah,
Well, that's
That's
what
what I thought.
that's
what I
what bar or
thought,
bat mitzvah means, is son of or daughter of Torah.
Of Torah.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of acknowledging that they're old enough to start living by that.
Okay.
Daddy was never one to he wanted the boys to choose when they wanted to do that. So that's why we never really had one for my boys. But Dad did it when he was 40 something.
Right.
There you go. Okay.
Okay, any other thoughts on that? Because I'm gonna change gears here a little bit if nobody has anything else.
Okay, go for it.
Because I want to stay within the patterns that we've been talking about to make it a little more understanding. Okay, our Haftarah portion today is in Hosea, chapter 2, depending on where you're reading from, chapter 2, Hosea chapter 2. So, if you want to head on over there.
Okay. I gotta find it.
Okay, tell me what it is again, Hosea.
Hosea chapter 2.
It's not a very big one either.
No, but it's a very, very important one.
Yeah, I found it. No, I'm just find it.
Yeah.
This is the chapter that 6 months after I got here, no, almost 9 months after I got here, I had decided I was going to read the entire Bible. And that day I was having a rough time with being here in the desert, and I got to this chapter. And
Oh.
this chapter has stuck with me for the last 14 years.
Wow.
Well, we'll see what happens today then. and what I'm going to bring up. All right, so if you're in the Tanakh, you're gonna start in verse 10.
Oh.
If you're in your regular, like
Reading one?
New American Standard or King James, you're going to start in verse 1 of chapter 2. Okay.
Wow.
What if you're in
Oh, wait a
the-
minute. Maybe it's the other way
I
around.
think
It's the other way
It's the other way
around.
around. Never mind. Flip it.
What if you're in the King James version?
Okay, you'll start in verse
Chapter
10
1.
of chapter 1.
Yeah,
That's chapter 1 instead of chapter 2.
Right.
yes.
Oh, I thought, okay.
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 Yeah, because I made a distinction in the, in the Torah reading schedule. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
And my Bible has 2, 1 in parentheses at 1.
Oh, okay. All right. so if it, just a real quick setup for Hosea, he was the last prophet to the kingdom of Israel. He was the last prophet to the kingdom of Israel. And that really is important to remember, especially as we go through it and we read.
Okay.
Also, another thing to keep in mind is from Genesis chapter 25 through Revelation 22, these pages are all about the children of Israel. From Genesis 25 to Revelation 22, it's all about the children of Israel, dealing with the children of Israel, and what's going to happen to them, and how they're supposed to react and respect the word of Yahuwah, and what happens to them if they don't. Plain and simple, it's about the children of Israel.
So
How?
even in Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Acts, and Philippians,
Yeah.
everything is all
Yes,
about the children of Israel?
yes it is.
Wow.
And this is where, especially as you just mentioned, Rusty, about the Gospels and the other writings, this is where it gets a little confusing, because people think it's about other people, not the children of Israel. But when you read it within the context, it's all about the children of Israel and how he's dealing with them. All right. Now,
Did you say Genesis 5 or 25?
25,
Okay, thanks.
halfway through Genesis.
Okay.
So then, so I'm going to say something I said before. So now, does this have anything to do with what I was talking about before, about this gentleman by the name of Kim Jean, where he said when you're reading it, you have to be careful because there'll be something that'll, that it's either about the children of Israel or it's about the church, one or the other. And so that's where you have to rightly divide the word of God.
Okay,
So,
and then let me make a comment to that then.
okay.
The word church has been inserted or translated from the assembly. The word is assembly, but the assembly was
Right.
talking about the children of Israel.
Right.
And so the Christian brethren have taken that and they've called it the church, which in their minds is inclusive of everybody. But it is not.
Well, because I say I'm not a Christian. I don't like the word Christian to begin with
I-
because there's so many denominations. When somebody says, Rusty Mayer, are you a Christian? I'm saying yes or no to their definition, not the word of God. So anyhow, so then the church is the ones that are not the children of Israel.
Okay, and that's what this portion is about.
Okay.
It's to
Okay.
help us to identify. Help us to identify who we are associated with. And that's what,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
So let me go ahead and, I'm gonna go ahead and read in verse 10, and I'm out of the New American Standard. Verse 10 of chapter 1 of Hosea. Yet the number of the sons of Israel will be like the sand of the sea. So who's this about? The sons of Israel.
Children of Israel.
Yeah, which cannot be measured or numbered. And it will come about that in the place where it is said to them, you are not my people. It will be said to them, the sons of the living Elohim. Okay, so now can this be an identity crisis? Very much so. To the people that it's talking about. Because in one sentence, from one group of people, you're not called the children of Yahuwah. In another people, you are called the sons of the living Yahuwah. Can you see the confusion? Because that is happening, has been happening for a couple of thousand years.
Well, what is it confusing to the people who are listening to it, or to the people it's being said to?
Both.
Well, okay.
Because they're a group of the people that are saying you are not a part of this family are from the family.
Oh.
Oh, okay, because that's what I was just thinking is, and I just was reading this as you were talking. In the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God, which means they are a people. Then that's what he's saying.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. So then, so as you taught me, and I'm very grateful because it's helping me a lot, really. So as you taught me, I'm not a Jew, but I'm one of the lost tribes. So this is where I fit in.
Yes.
Okay. Where they would say, I haven't said anything yet. I'm going to be talking to my pastor's wife and but I mean, I haven't said anything to anybody because, some people are going to go, oh, then we know, and I'm not into all that crap.
Yep.
So anyhow, but the thing is that, so there are those that would say today, they would say, oh, you're the lost tribes, and you're not really up there, you're not any of us. That's what you're saying. This is what he said back then.
Okay. With you saying that, let me read verse 11. And the sons of Yehuda and the sons of Israel will be gathered together. See, this right here, that very phrase is saying that they are apart. They are not together. They are
Still
independent.
are not together.
And that's the way it is today.
Right.
This is a prophetic word for the future.
Right.
And they will appoint for themselves one leader. And they will go up from the land, for great will be the day of Jezreel.
Okay.
And that's the name of the one that, that is being talked about here. The son of now I forgot her name.
Gomer.
Gomer, the son of Gomer. All right. Now we come to chapter 2. And now this is again for Hosea. He's speaking this. This is prophetic words for a future time from him. Say to your brothers, Ami, and to your sisters, Ruhamah, contend with your mother, contend, for she is not my wife, and I am not her husband. Let her put away her harlotry from her face, and her adultery from between her breasts. Now, what is harlotry and what is adultery?
Isn't it,
Idols.
would that be the idols?
Well, okay, which one? Because Martina just said harlotry is the idols, the idolatry.
Okay. Wouldn't it be both?
Well, okay, they go together.
Yeah.
Okay, harlotry is dealing with the idols, or the wrong or false worship. Adultery is the act of it. That's the act of doing it.
Idols and worship.
Yeah.
So one's a verb and one's a noun.
Okay, there you go.
So say that again about, can I say that one more time?
Okay. Harlotry is idolatry. It's dealing with idols. It's dealing with a different way of approaching Yahuwah or worshiping Yahuwah.
Okay.
And then it's like, okay, we got to go back to the commandments. Second commandment: you shall not make for yourself any
Right.
idol,
Right.
whether it's in heaven, whether it's on earth, or whether it's below the earth.
Right.
And then the second part is, and you shall not bow down to them. That's the act. Number one, you shouldn't make. Number two, you shouldn't bow down to it. And so this is how I see this. Harlotry is the making of the idol, or presenting that an idol is there, and then you give life to it. That's the adultery. You're worshiping it.
So when you bow down to it, then that's where you give it life.
Yes.
Okay. You give it,
Yeah,
you're saying that.
giving it-
I'm accepting you have control over me and that I'm gonna follow you.
Yeah, giving life to it means then you are committing the act of adultery.
Okay.
And the reason I bring it up this way is because this is what has plagued the children of Israel. What was the first time the children of Israel performed this?
With the calf, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the calf.
Yeah.
So they had to make the calf, or the calf had to be made.
Or the calf just came out.
Poof, it just came out of the fire.
Look at that.
And then they bowed down to it.
And then they ate it.
Well, then they were forced to drink it. Yeah, basically. All right, so this is what verse 2 is talking about of chapter 2. All right, now verse 3. Now lest I strip her naked and expose her as on the day when she was born. I will. When was basically the children of Israel born again?
Well, I think it was when they came out of Egypt.
That's correct.
Oh, good. I just guessing.
Yeah, you get
Okay.
a star. I haven't given a star in a long time. All right. When she was born, I will also make her like a wilderness. Now this is real fun to actually think on. I will also make her like a wilderness, make her like a desert land. And then I will slay her with thirst. Also, I will have no compassion on her children. I will have no compassion on her offspring, is the way I could read that also.
Uh-huh.
Because they are children of harlotry.
In other words, they just continued on with what their parents taught them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, verse 5 is a critical one. And and I just kind of glanced down at my commentary, which takes a very typical approach to this. And their mother has played the harlot. So where'd the harlot come out of?
The mother had played the harlot. Came out of Egypt, didn't it?
Well, originally, yeah. But it's Hosea. Remember I said the first part, Hosea was the last major prophet, or the last prophet to the kingdom of Israel.
Okay.
Because there was already a kingdom of Judah that was in place.
Okay.
This was at the time they were being warned, and actually they're being taken out of the land at this particular time.
So
But-
the kingdom of Israel is the harlot.
Okay, yes. Kingdom of Israel. The children of Israel
Children.
Is the harlot?
is the harlot.
The kingdom of Israel became the harlot?
Yeah, and so did the kingdom of Judah, because that's what it talks about in Jeremiah.
Right.
Kingdom of Israel played the harlot, and Judah did worse.
Yeah, you treacherous sister.
Well, if they became the harlot, you're saying that they came to the point where what they did was they relied on themselves rather than God.
Yeah,
Okay,
or
I got
they
it. Okay.
or they mixed the practices of foreign worship with the worship of other gods. Now, let me go back to, I think everybody's familiar with Solomon. I think everybody's familiar with Solomon. Now, what does Solomon do?
He brought him into the temple.
He married foreign wives, and he brought their gods into the temple he built.
Yep.
Now, it doesn't say he worshiped them, but just the whole fact of him bringing them in or recognizing them doesn't speak very good of his relationship with the Most High.
Because he brought them into the temple that he built for the Most High.
Yes.
Okay, I got it.
Why is Solomon supposed to be the wisest person in the Bible or something? I mean, seriously, he's getting less wise the more we study him.
Well, and that's, I hate to approach it this way, but you're right, Marla. It brings these things out if you're reading it correctly. I always thought that, when the kingdom was united, which it never was. But I was taught that the kingdom was united under David. It never was. The kingdom being united under Solomon, it never was. Because in Rehoboam's time, the son of Solomon, is when it was definitely when Yahuwah said, I've had enough, and he split it up. That's history. And if you don't understand that, you're going to miss a lot of what is being said and who it's being said about. And so, verse 5, back to verse 5. For their mother has played the harlot. She who conceived them has acted shamefully. For she said, I will go after my lovers who give my bread and my water. Okay, so these people, and it's talking about a people, especially the house of Israel, these people are believing that their food and their water comes from other gods. And then my wool and my flax, my oil and my drink. Therefore, behold, I will hedge up her way with thorns. Now, this is the father again is speaking to Hosea to write these things down. I will hedge up her way with thorns. Now, do you remember, does anybody remember where that phraseology, hedge up with thorns, appears?
Well, the only thing I can do, what I might automatically went to was, when he was giving all the curses out to Adam and Eve and Satan, and he was saying that now you're going to have to deal with the thorns. Things are
Okay.
not going to just grow for you.
Okay, yeah, now you're going to be dealing with thorns. All right, what other? And I'm thinking of another major statement that was said of an individual. Well, you've put a hedge of thorns around him.
Oh, you're talking about
Oh,
Job?
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So we get the terminology, and the reason I bring it up is because of the terminology. The terminology gives us a picture.
Now you're trying us to get us to look at the first mention as well?
Oh, absolutely, and you brought it up.
Okay.
I mean, you brought it up when they were put out of the garden.
Right, okay.
Because who's the one that put the thorns outside the garden? Yahuwah did.
Yeah.
He did this. We got to remember that. He is doing all of this. And therefore, let me go down to the second part of verse 6. I will build a wall against her so that she cannot find her way. Oh, goodness. And this is talking about the children of Israel.
Yeah.
I'm going to hedge her in, and I'm going to make it so she cannot find her way. Which means she's going to be looking. She's going to be searching.
And trying to find her way back to him.
Or just to find a way out of the struggles that, she's in. It's, I was watching this morning. A fly got into my, it's not a fly, but a moth of sorts. One of the small ones got into my trailer last night, and I'm watching it fly up and down, go up and down the glass window right in front of me. And what was it searching for? A way to get out. It's a beautiful picture. And I remember what Brad Scott said: if you want to understand and know the Father, just look out your window. Well,
Yeah. I miss that, man.
yeah, that's what happened. So, okay, so the Father's doing this. However, verse 7, she will pursue her lovers, but she will not overtake them. She will seek them, but will not find. Then she will say, I will go back to my first husband, for it was better for me than even now. Now, I'm not going to go on any further here because there's something else I want to reveal. Although the Haftarah portion goes through verse 20 or 22, depending on where you're reading from. What I want to do is now, with everything that's been said, I'd like us to go to Revelation chapter 17. And I do believe when we were going through Revelation last year, as we were finishing it up, I kind of alluded to this. I kind of brought this out. But it's a hard thing because I was taught a certain way when I sat under teachers that taught Revelation, because I was always dealing with somebody from the outside.
When you were talking about when you were learning?
When I was early on in my
Right.
Christian walk,
Right.
I sat under a couple of different pastors, and they both, all about 3 or 4 of them, plus other teachers. There were other teachers that I listened to. It was like a sponge trying to soak this stuff up, and they were all saying the same thing. And so when I started teaching, I was teaching the same thing. But then I got into this walk, and I go,
And it turns you all the way around, don't it?
yeah, this is about the children of Israel. Oh. So this is the perspective. This is how I want us to look at this. So verse 1, chapter 17 of Revelation. The one of the 7 angels had the 7 bowls, came and spoke to me, saying, Come here, I shall show you the judgment of the great harlot who sits on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth committed immorality, and those who dwell on the earth were made drunk with the wine of her immorality. And he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast full of blasphemous names, having 7 heads and 10 thorns. Now the appearance of, here's my commentary. The appearance of this beast draws us off or takes our attention away from, I believe, what the Father wants to reveal to us. Verse 2, whom the kings of the earth committed immorality. Who is the only people in the scriptures that are called to be kings and priests.
Israel.
Yeah, children of Israel.
Yeah, the children of Israel.
Now there are mentions of other kings, like in the book of Kings or in Chronicles or in some of the prophets. They're about like Cyrus. He was a king outside of the children of Israel that was used. But when you look at the scriptures, and I didn't take time to look them up, we are the ones that, and I know it's in the Torah as well as in Paul's writings. We are to be kings and prophets, the children of Israel. And so they are committing immorality. They are committing harlotry. And this is what is being said to John here when he was carried away and he was shown in the wilderness. Now, if you remember back to Hosea, where did, or even back to when the man and the woman were put out of the garden, where were they sent to? The wilderness. So you see the pattern, you see a similarity here. You should.
Okay, whoa, back up a minute. When they came out of the Garden of Eden?
Yeah, they were sent into a wilderness.
Okay, well, God said, I'm sending you back to the dirt you came from.
That was wilderness.
Okay, so you're saying that's wilderness.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And so again, it uses, they were getting drunk off of her immorality. And so, verse 4, and the woman was clothed in purple and scarlet, adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls, having in her hand a gold cup full of abominations and of the unclean things of her immorality. Now, I want you to understand, the woman is the one that's committing this harlotry. Now, verse 5. And upon her forehead a name written, a mystery. Now, this is a mystery, which means it's revealed to some, those who have ears to hear, eyes to see, but for the most part, it is not revealed, but it will be revealed when it's necessary to be revealed. Here's the mystery. Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and of the abominations of the earth. So think back to Hosea. Who's the harlot? Who's the harlot in Hosea?
Israel.
Children of Israel.
The children of Israel. Now, are the children of Israel the same as the ones that are committing the harlotry? Are they the same as Babylon? They're not, are they?
Well, think about it.
I mean, it sounds like they are, but at the same time, it's like, okay, then there's a lot that are going to be dying.
If you go back to when Babylon was first introduced in the scripture, why do you think the Father had to scatter the people and change their languages?
Oh, okay. That's when that's the first Babylon in a sense.
Yes.
Oh.
It's more than a place.
I read something like that, but I didn't really understand.
Yeah. See, when we hear Babylon, we think of Babylon as a place, as a something physical.
Okay.
But this is dealing in a spiritual realm,
Okay.
using physical attributes and physical names, but it's dealing with a spiritual part. And so, the children of Israel were committing this harlotry, these abominations on the earth, and they are called Babylon.
So that is after Genesis 5. Obviously, yes, it is.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that's way after.
So this was, I'm trying to remember, was this before or after Abraham was called to be Hebrew?
It was before Abraham.
I think it's before you.
Right before
That's what I
Abraham.
thought. So how could this be the children of Israel then?
Because this is about the children of Israel.
Okay.
Let me read verse 6 then. And I want to see if
Okay.
anybody picks up on it. And I saw the woman drunk with the blood of the saints, or the chosen ones,
Oh, there you go.
and the blood of the witnesses of Yeshua. And when I saw her, I wondered greatly. So even John himself, when he was getting this, had no clue. He was, it was a, boy, and I lost the word. He was in a quandary on what he was seeing, what was
Just
being
like
given
we-
to him.
Just like we're in a quandary of some of the stuff we're reading.
Right.
Yeah.
So, who holds to the testimony, which is the witness? Who holds to the testimony of Yeshua?
Well, it would have to be, because you're using the Hebrew name Yeshua and not Jesus, which I
Right,
don't believe is
right.
the real name anyhow. I know that's not. Since you're using that, you're talking about the children of Israel.
Correct. And that would be the very same thing as the saints, the chosen ones.
Wow, it was a lot of things that got to take out of my head, because
Well,
saints have always been those that have been. Okay.
This is
okay.
my job, is to help us look at it from a little bit different, but this is a major difference. And so now you have this Babylon the Great, this mother of the harlots, the blood running through her is that of the children of Israel.
Okay.
And so verse 7, and the angel said to me, why do you wonder? I shall tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carries her, which has the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The beast that, now here it is, verse 8, if anything, underline this, highlight it, whatever you want to do. The beast that you saw was and is not, is about to come up out of the abyss and go to destruction. And those who dwell on the earth will wonder, whose name has not been written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they see the beast that he was, is not, and will come. The one who was, the one who is, and the one who will come.
Oh, you're talking about Satan.
No.
No, Yeshua.
No.
Who's the only one that is talked about? That is
Jesus
the
Christ
one.
is the only one who's talked about like this, but they didn't know Jesus Christ back then. They didn't know Yeshua back then.
Well,
Okay, you're laughing, don't bother me, so you go right ahead.
no. I'm sorry.
I understand. I don't understand, and that's what I want to understand.
Yeah,
Please.
I'm
No,
sorry.
I love you guys. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for letting me be here. Thank you so much.
But
Okay. So explain to me, please, because.
all right, the one who was, the one who is, and the one who is to come is a reference to Yeshua, the word of
Right, that's what
Yahuwah.
I thought.
Exactly.
But that's kind of like almost what's gonna, in a sense, except that he didn't die, is Satan. That's the only one. I think of the worst would have to be him, and that's why I was saying that. But he doesn't die. He's put in the abyss, and then he lets him come back out. Then he's killed. So, okay, all right, okay.
So come
okay,
from
so
the abyss?
Go on, what?
You know what throws me is it says beast. Called Yeshua beast.
No, this is where you have. Do you remember, Martina, what I said? Imitation.
Okay, so the beast is an imitation.
Yeah, it's an imitation of the children of Israel. But yet they will be referred to as the children of Israel.
Okay, so read this last part, but put children of Israel and put Yeshua in there instead of what is there. Just read from the book of life, David. And
Okay, well, you want me to read all of verse 8 again?
Well, okay.
Let me read all of verse 8. The beast you saw was, is not, and is about to come up out of the abyss. Meaning, you have to understand the word abyss in Hebrew. It just means the dark side, the deep dark.
So
And
that beast, what is that beast that you just read? Who is that beast?
this is what's on the earth that's being represented in the physical form to the people on the earth. It's a group of it's a group of people.
Oh, that's like what we're dealing with today.
It's the beginning of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we haven't seen this yet. This is yet to come.
Oh no, what's happening right now is nothing
Right.
compared to what's going to come. What's going to come is going to be horrific, except for the children of Israel. They're going to be.
Now.
God is going to be protecting us. So.
Yeah.
Those that are. Well, go on.
Now.
This first beast and the second beast, the first beast in the first sentence and the beast in the last sentence, those are two different beasts?
It's two different times, but yes, it's two different beasts.
Oh my God, I'm so confused, David.
I know it. I know it. Hang in there. Hey, this isn't the first time, Marla, that what I've
No,
said.
I know.
It's been confusing.
We're gonna have to watch
know.
this.
Okay,
again.
so this is the first time they're spoken of, but they're two different beasts, and then they're going to be coming up again. Is
Yeah.
that what
See,
you're saying?
I'm just taking a part of it. I'm not taking the whole thing, which I probably should not. I should have probably went back, at the beginning. But what I want to do is do the correlation between Hosea and Revelation.
Right.
Okay.
And maybe on Tuesday, we can go a little bit deeper into this.
Great.
And but now to finish out verse 8, those who dwell on the earth will wonder, whose name has not been written in the book of life. Who's going to even know and understand about the book of life?
The only ones would be.
Of Israel.
Children of Israel or Christian brethren.
Yeah, it's just going to say it has to be them because they're the only ones that understand about the cross and everything.
Yeah.
They don't. They're the only ones that understand the other side of the cross.
They're the only ones that use the book of life, basically. Our Jewish brethren do, but they don't really talk about it. But the Messianic communities, as well as our Christian brethren, but mostly our Christian brethren use the term book of life. You got to accept Yeshua, you got to accept Jesus, and then your name is written in the Lamb's book of life. Well, this verse right here puts that on its head. And what I mean by that is, because, whose name has not been written in the Lamb's book of life from the beginning, or from the foundation of the world. And this isn't the only verse that speaks of that.
Okay, so let me see this.
We were written in the book of life before we were born.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
before this earth was created.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I understood. We
These
choose
are those not
we
written.
choose to not be a part of the book of life. But we're all there because God loves us, and that's where we came from. It's Him.
Well,
So
that's
you
a whole.
gotta-
That's another subject.
Okay.
That
Okay.
I think I addressed part of that in my last Sukkot teaching.
Well, it says whose names have not been written.
Right, whose names have not been written, and
Doesn't say blotted out.
they've been blotted out.
Okay, so that means blotted out.
Yeah, that means blotted out. Their names have been blotted out.
Not written.
Okay, so they were written in there, but then they were blotted out, which means,
Right.
but then but then how could it have been from the beginning though?
Well, no, because their names were in there, it's their act of, in their lifetime, in the physical life. And how they lived. And it doesn't, now because everybody's name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life.
Right.
Everybody.
In the beginning, even Hitler.
Yes, it was, yes. I don't want to sit in the seat of judgment here.
No. I don't either. I'm just saying, I know for a fact that had he, everything he did, if the minute before he died, if he'd understood it for a split second and he would have repented, God, that would have been it. God, he would have been in heaven. That's it. That he would have been accepted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. So, and it's a mind-blowing thing in a way. It's just
Well, it is. When you start reading it word for word and in the context of what it's dealing with.
right. So,
Now, okay, I want to, let me go ahead and just kind of read out. Here's verse 9. Here's the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits, and they are 7 kings. 5 have fallen, 1 is, and the other has not yet come. And when he comes, he must remain a little while. So it's referring to a time frame there, and I don't want to get into details on time setting. And the beast which was and is not is himself also an 8th, and is of the 7, and he goes to destruction. And the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings, who have not yet received a kingdom. However, they receive authority as kings with the beast for 1 hour. I believe verse 12 is relating to the 10 tribes that will be restored. However, they will not be walking in the commandments as they're supposed to.
so none of them will, because I'm one of
You
those.
said-
I'm not going to say none of them. I'm not going to say all.
I think you said.
But,
12.
but
Was it
as a
10?
whole, they're not.
The 10
That's what
tribes?
you're
The 10 horns.
Okay, 10 tribes then.
Okay.
Oh, I did that.
In verse 13 it says, and these have one purpose, and their purpose is to give their power and authority to the beast. Meaning what they're going to do is they're going to validate what the beast is doing, what these people are doing. And they're going to come against the others that are trying to do, that are not committing harlotry, that are not a part of these people. And in my opinion, to some degree, this beast is in place today.
Well, I would say so, because you see what's going on with all the stuff going on with the children, and oh my goodness, and everything.
Well-
Things we don't even know yet.
And again, I'm relating this to the children of Israel
Yeah.
and what Hosea said. Because at some point, if we would have gone through the rest of the Hosea passage, we see where the righteous then, the chosen ones, are raised up. And they overtake the authority that is trying to overtake them. That is a pattern within the scripture, and that is dealing with the children of Israel. And more than anything, it's the house of Israel that it's dealing with. And so, There, I gave you a lot to think about. I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
I'm not gonna apologize, no, I'm not gonna apologize, but, so as, to just close this out, I've got one last phrase I wanna read to you. Especially dealing with from Exodus, or Genesis to Revelation. This is about these people who are actually performing or carrying out the name of Israel. These are people who are struggling with men or man, and more importantly, those who are struggling with Yahuwah. Because that's what Israel means. You who struggle with men and struggle with Yahuwah.
That's what Israel means? Because of Jacob, what was going on with Jacob before he became Israel?
Exactly.
That's what you're, oh wow, didn't put that together. That's, okay.
And that's what even Hosea, and that's what this Revelation passage is about. Men struggling with men, but more importantly, they're struggling with Yahuwah and how he has instructed them to live their lives. So at times, the children of Israel are a sweet aroma to Yahuwah. But they also, at times, are a bitter stench, a foul smell. So, Father, I pray that you would continue to reveal to us wisdom and understanding in relationship to your word and how it is put together from Genesis to Revelation. May you bless us with understanding, eyes to see, ears to hear. May you be glorified in our actions. May we be a sweet aroma unto you. So I thank you for watching over us. I thank you for this time and this season. And above all, may you be glorified throughout the earth, through our lives as we live them for you. In Yeshua's name, amen.